What's going on, YouTube? Today I've got the McNees Mac 2 3.5. Before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Dan over at the pointy end for sending out his Mac 2 for me to check out. You know, he's got a lot of good content over there. Go check it out. I think you'll really enjoy a lot of his videos. And going right along with that, you know, that comment, there was one that he put out the other day called Making Amends. And there's a few points that he had made in that video that I think really resonated with me. You know, one of the things he was talking about was people having a bunch of knives they're really cheap knives, you know, and I'm not saying that to sound, you know, snobby or put anybody down or anything of that matter, but it's true. I've seen people who have 30, 40, 50, you know, 60 or more knives that are in the $50 range or $100 range, and you know, they've got $2,500 or $3,000 invested in essentially cheap knives that are never gonna retain any value, you know. And then those same guys, not all of them, but those same guys will also kind of throw shade at people for spending, you know, $300 on a knife or $500 on a knife. And I just find it almost a little hypocritical, you know. And so I couldn't help but to, you know, hear that and really wanted to just drive that point home in this video as well, because I think that many of us kind of maybe start off in that same boat. You know, we like knives, we like the different designs, and we start, before you know it, we've got a bunch of just kind of cheap knives that will always be that. I mean, I hate to say that, but they'll always be that. And so one of the realizations that I came to is that I would rather have fewer knives that were higher quality, and along with that, I would like to have more that are USA made. You know, these are going to be knives that are going to hold their value. You're probably going to have a really good customer service, and they're going to be, you know, they're going to be just a cut above in almost every aspect. Another thing that he brought up was kind of the packaging and kind of how it's all over the place. You know, with some knives you'll get a zipper box or a little zipper pouch. Other knives you'll get, you know, like Medford, really nice. You get like a Pelican case here. You know, Chavez, you get these little kind of magnetic boxes. And Hinders are almost laughable. I mean, it's literally just a cardboard box with stickers all over it, and you've got, you know, packing peanuts and stuff in there. And I say all that, and this is when I'm really gonna dive into this reviews, because I kind of feel like McNees has hit the sweet spot here on packaging. Now, I don't buy a knife for the packaging. I don't, right? But it's still a good touch to have, you know, something that looks nice, and it comes with a few little things, you know, it makes you feel good about your purchase, right? And like I said, I say all that to say that I feel like they've kind of hit the sweet spot here on their packaging. You know, they've got a really good looking box, you know, but it's a box, you know. They've got a few stickers. I really like this. Okay, this is a metal kind of spec card. You can see there it says McNees Performance Machine, made in the USA, and then you flip it over and it's kind of got these specs for, not all of them, but you know, the major high points of your knife's specs, right? And I think that's a nice touch. But out of all of this, other than the knife, there's one particular thing that was in this box that really just impressed me, and it impressed me so much that I want to own multiple of these McNees knives. I'm almost instantly a fan, and that's this right here. Okay, doesn't look like much. Business card, probably cost, you know, they bought these things in bulk. It probably cost a whole nickel for them to purchase this. But here's the part that really just impressed me. This cost them nothing to do. And it's not even, you know, a lengthy statement there. But the fact that, and I'm assuming this is Jonathan McNees's signature, the owner, but the fact that him or somebody on his staff took the time to, you know, just write out this simple sentence. This means more than the box. It means more than, you know, the machine card with the specs, the sticker. It means more than everything. And so I can't help but to, you know, be impressed by that. And if somebody at McNees Knives just so happens to watch this video, don't ever stop doing this. You've got a great product here, and I'm fixing to get into, you know, going over some of this. You've got a great product here, but don't forget your roots, right? This is impressive. This by itself, this 5-cent card makes me want to be a repeat customer. Not the box, not the card, not the stickers. Yes, the knife, right? It's a good knife, but also the character and the, you know, just the wholesomeness of what you've got here. So I'm actually going to leave that face up here. So what we've got here today are two, essentially, it's the same knife, essentially, Mac 2 3.5s. I got this knife on Friday. Today is Monday, August the 1st. I got this knife Friday at about 12 o'clock, right around lunchtime. It said it was delivered. Like I said, my buddy Dan sent this out for me to check out. I got it, immediately was impressed by this knife. Immediately. So much so that I started doing a little bit of browsing and digging on the Mac 2s. And they are pretty hard to come by right now. I think a lot of people are realizing just how special these knives are, and as soon as they come in stock, they fly off the shelves. Literally, they're very, very high demand right now. So I started doing some digging, and I actually found an Instagram post on McNees's Instagram post that they were dropping some knives literally like an hour later. Got this knife in my hands to review. Like an hour later, I saw that they were dropping knives, and was very fortunate to grab this one. I didn't find out until after the fact that this was actually a special run. They didn't use the terminology prototype, but essentially that's what this one is. Okay, they were doing some in-house milling, and the lockbar relief cutout here is different, and that's, I'm guessing they were playing, I think they were playing with a few different designs. So there was only 11 of these that were sold. And I had both of these knives in my hand, and I wanted to kind of point out a few of the differences, because it's my understanding that they're starting to do more in-house milling. So some of the features that, and there's not, you know, it's not a lot of changes, but there are a few. So some of the things that are on this knife may be the norm moving forward. And so right off the bat, of course, McNees Instagram post said that the lockbar relief was what they were kind of playing with, a new design there. And so that may be too bright. Let's see if I can tone this down some here. Zoom in there. So you've got almost like a stepped pattern where it kind of walks down, and then the lock bar relief has let's see if I can get a little bit closer. There you go. It's got some cutouts, almost like a cross hatch, right? So it's got some lines going this way and some lines running perpendicular to that, making a cross hatch type look. And in addition to that, it's also a little bit wider. Okay, so you can see here, there's this cutout, lock bar relief cutout, and here's this one. So it's a little bit, I'm gonna try to line them up there, a little bit wider. Now I don't know if they're gonna keep doing that moving forward or not, but it is different. Of course, on this one here, there's none of that stepped. It just is smoothly scalloped out there, and the pattern down there is more of like a pitting patterns, like pits, and there's a really nice look as well. I wish that would focus. There we go. So it's kind of like a pitted look. Another thing that I noticed was the internal lightning milling, where they've milled out the knife for weight reduction purposes. And on this one, see if you can see in there, there are 2 rows of circular holes there. And then on the lock bar side, I don't know if you guys see, there's 1 row on this portion here. On the new knife, and like I said, they're apparently doing some of this milling in-house moving forward. And I don't know if they're playing with this or not. You can see there's like this, not diamond, but a triangle wedged shape milling inside of this one. And I do find this interesting because the size of these relief cuts on this one, on the new one, are a good bit bigger than they are on this one. So I actually thought that this knife was going to weigh less than this knife. They're actually the exact same weight. They're both 4.5 ounces. And so the reason why I say that's interesting is if they continue to do this internal milling that they've done here with these wedge-shaped, triangular-shaped milling relief cuts, and they start doing patterns like this fastback design here, this is milled into the titanium scales here. So there's actually material removed. So there's a good chance that even though these weigh the same, in a future iteration of this knife where they maybe do the shockwave pattern that's like some circles, some concentric circles, or the fastback pattern, there's a good chance that those versions of this knife may be less than 4.5 ounces. Now, how much less they're going to be, I don't know. I can't imagine it's going to be a whole bunch, but there is still material removed. And on both sides, that's going to be, it's not going to be insignificant, right? It may amount to a couple ounces. If that's important to you, you know, who knows? Another thing that I noticed, you know, everything else on it's pretty much the same knife. Of course, this lock bar cutout is bigger, but on the kind of previous generation, let me see if I can get, there's a circle, so there's a circular cutout, and then there's a straight line for the lock bar. On this one, and I don't know if it's because it's still, you know, like I said, a prototype, it's just a straight line. And that doesn't matter or not, but it is something that I found that was interesting. So if you just so happen to, you know, come across one of these things, maybe that might be an identifying feature in the future if you've got a prototyped cutout, or, you know, if it's whatever they decide on moving forward. I don't know if it'll ever be important, but who knows, you know. So yeah, very nice knife. I'm going to knock out some dimensions real quick. The dimensions are, like I said, exactly the same. Weight's the same. Everything about these is the same. This knife, like I said, is 4.5 ounces. It is got a 3.5 inch blade. Okay. Overall length, you've got 7.63 inches. So a little over 7.5 inches. I'm going to do some size comparisons here of some similarly sized knives, some competing knives here. We'll knock some of those out. Let's see, I'm going to use this one here. Actually, no, I'll put this one right here. Okay, so some size comparisons here. Here is a Hinder XM18. Now the XM18, for those of you who don't know, is roughly about the same size as the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. This is a 6-ounce knife, but interestingly, it has a 3.5 inch blade, but its overall length is 8.25 inches. So this thing's almost a 1/2 inch longer than the McNees, but you're getting the same size blade. So, you know, this one's going to carry a good bit easier than this one is, and you're getting the same amount of blade. You're giving up a finger choil, but you're getting the same amount of cutting edge, right? Slim MIDI. This one's actually very comparable. Slim MIDI actually has, now if you look up the specs on Slim MIDI, it's going to tell you that it's got a, I think it says something like a 3¼ inch blade is what it says. However, on the Slim Midi, on that 3¼ inch, that's actually the cutting surface, right? The blade itself is actually 3½ inches, right? So you've got 3½, and what you're getting though is, again, you're getting a finger choil. So if you want a finger choil, something like an XM18 or the Slim Midi, those are going to be your, you know, comparable options here in this size that are American made. If you don't care about the finger choil, you know, then of course you've got the Mac 2s. I can tell you that the Mac 2 is a good bit smoother than both of these knives, than both the Hinderer and the Medford. It's a good bit smoother, opening and closing. These things are just buttery smooth. I mean, I just got this one. I've maybe flicked it open, I don't know, 10 times now, and it just rockets out and just drops shut. And this one's even smoother. This one's been tuned a little bit by my buddy Dan. It's a lot smoother. Now I know you can't feel that, but it is. It's a whole lot smoother and just buttery smooth. Something to note on both of these knives, they do not have a lock bar insert. That's not a big deal to me. I've never seen anybody wear out one of these locks. But if that's something that's important to you, you know, that's something to be aware of. But yeah, that's it, guys. Just had the opportunity to review 2 of these and wanted to get this out there. I don't know if some of the features that are on this one are going to be the norm moving forward. It sounded very much like they were kind of, I'm not going to say experimenting, but they were. You know, they're trying different things at McNees to see what they wanted and what was working for them, and what was making the cut, what wasn't. There's a lot that goes into these, you know, and so just because this has a, you know, different lock bar relief, or it doesn't mean it's inferior. It doesn't mean it's better either. You know, there's a lot of things that go into manufacturing decisions, such as machining time, wear and tear on machines, that even though the product, the end result is the same, more or less, they may look different, but the function is going to be the same. And so, like I said, they may go back to the round type relief cuts that are in this one, and they may stay with the wedge shaped ones that are in this one. But I did think it was interesting to see essentially what is the next potential iteration of this knife. This is a great knife. This is the next potential iteration of it. Some of these features may be carryovers onto the next generation moving forward. So that's it, guys. Wanted to, like I said, give you an opportunity to look at both of these. Again, a huge shout out to my buddy Dana for the pointing in. Go check out his videos. I think you'll like a lot of his content. Guys, if you could like and subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. I'm thinking about doing a giveaway if I can get to like 250 viewers or 300 viewers. Thinking about doing a giveaway. So, you know, keep watching the videos. Like I said, like and subscribe. Any questions you have, comments, leave them down in the comment section. Take care, guys.